Welcome to Hannity, and tonight the general election is only 40 days away, and Donald Trump is campaigning harder than ever. Now, Newt Gingrich will join us in just a minute, but first tonight, while the GOP nominee tries to explain to voters how he will make their lives better, well, the Clinton campaign is sinking to a new low. They're trying to falsely paint Donald Trump as a sexist. They're dragging out 20-year-old claims which have been proven to be misleading from former Miss Universe winner Alicia Machado. Now, Clinton also failed to mention Miss Machado's connection to a 1990s attempted murder and threats of violence that she made against a judge in her home country of Venezuela. Now, while Hillary Clinton rolls out stories from questionable characters like Miss Machado, the Washington Post is raising red flags about Hillary Clinton's own troubling history with women connected to her husband's transgressions. Now, it's a huge story. On the front page, the headline reads, "Enabler or Family Defender," how Hillary Clinton responded to her husband's accusers. Now, the story goes on to describe in detail Hillary Clinton's efforts to discredit and fight back against accusations from her husband's many accusers. Now, take a look at several attempts by Hillary in the 1990s to flat out discredit the women or blame their scandals on something else other than her own husband. Watch this.
If somebody's willing to pay you $130,000 or $170,000 to say something, and you get your 15 minutes of fame and you get your picture on the front page of every newspaper, and you're some failed cabaret singer who doesn't even have much of a resume to fall back on, and what's there she's lied about, you know, that's the daughter of Willie Horton as far as I'm concerned.
He'd get off the phone and tell me that she said sort of wacky things which we thought were attributable to the fact that she was terrified.
People have been harassing my husband for, gosh, I don't know, ever since I've known him. I have to believe that it is in large measure motivated by people who just flat out disagree with the kind of politics and policies that my husband believes are best for America.
The great story here, for anybody willing to find it and write about it and explain it, is this vast right-wing conspiracy that has been conspiring against my husband since the day he announced for president.
Now, those examples are just the tip of the iceberg from Hillary and Clinton confidants on these issues. Now, in regards to Bill's relationship with Jennifer Flowers, who in 1992 claimed to have had a 12-year relationship with the future president, well, Hillary responded to Flowers' story by telling Vanity Fair, quote, "Well, if we've been in front of a jury, I'd say, Miss Flowers, isn't it true you were asked by the AP in June of 1990 and you said no? Weren't you asked by the Arkansas Democrat and you said no? I mean, I would crucify her." Wow, crucify her? Really? Now, in the case of former White House intern Monica Lewinsky, who Bill Clinton originally lied about having a sexual relationship with, Hillary Clinton had a less than flattering nickname for her, according to a journal entry from a friend, Diane Blair, that was made public. Now, Blair described Hillary's reaction to the Lewinsky scandal as, quote, "Well, she says to his credit that he tried to break it off, tried to pull away, tried to manage someone who was clearly a narcissistic Looney Tune, but it was beyond control." Now, when Hillary was given a chance to deny that she ever said that about Monica Lewinsky in an interview with Diane Sawyer in 2014, well, she declined to comment. Then there's Paula Jones, who in 1998, Bill Clinton wound up paying $850,000 in an out-of-court settlement for her to drop her sexual harassment charges against him. Now, according to the New York Times, CNN, and many other outlets, longtime Clinton ally James Carville said this about Paula Jones, quote, "If you drag a $100 bill through a trailer park, you never know what you'll find." Now, we also can't forget about the term bimbo eruptions. Now, that was coined by Bill's own 1992 presidential campaign to refer to the women who made accusations against the candidate. Now, if those damning examples aren't enough, well, over the years, I have interviewed many of Bill Clinton's accusers, and here's what they've told me. Take a look. You described the scene where he was biting on your lip, and then when it was all over, he was leaving. Said, "You better put some ice on that."
Yeah, and casually put on his sunglasses and walked out the door. I was sitting there crying and so upset at the time, and I felt like somebody, that the next person would be somebody coming through the door to get rid of the body.
You met Hillary Clinton.
Yes. She held on to my hand and she said, "Do you understand everything that you do?" I mean, cold chills went up my spine. That's the first time I became afraid of that woman.
You interpret that to mean she knew about the incident
I certainly do. And thank you for keeping quiet.
On the eve of your testimony in the Paula Jones case, you lost your cat, and there was somebody who came up to you, a stranger.
He approached me one morning. He alluded to my cat by name in past tense. He said, how is that? He was a nice cat. He said that Bullseye was a nice cat.
And that was a direct threat, you believe, on the eve of your testimony to let you know the cat's gone.
That was followed by how are your children? And he named them by name. That was followed by the naming of very dear friends' 2 children. That was followed by, did you ever get those tires fixed? I had 3 out of 4 tires in my car flattened by a nail gun. Hillary claims to be and wants us to think that she's a champion of women's rights. She's a women's advocate. She's a feminist. She has enabled his behavior for over 30 years.
I personally feel that if I had not become public when I did, even though I had not planned it, that I wouldn't be sitting here talking with you now. I think something would have happened to me. I think most of the women that have been involved with Bill Clinton have told of situations where they were threatened.
When all's said and done, are you glad you did all of this?
Yes, because I knew I was telling the truth and I had nothing to hide. And once and for all, I hope the world realizes that I was telling the truth and I wasn't just making it up.
Now, what's perhaps most disturbing about all of this is Hillary Clinton's blatant hypocrisy about a woman's right to be believed in cases of sexual assault. Now, last November, she ignored everything we just covered and tweeted, "Every survivor of sexual assault deserves to be heard, believed, and supported." Well, if only she gave the same courtesy consideration to the women she smeared, slandered, and besmirched for decades. Here now.